Hey traders, my morning brief video. Sorry if there's any background noise. So basically, yesterday just seemed like a corrective so far. We just had a corrective pattern yesterday. We came in with the anchored VWAP right near range highs, and they sold it back down into last week's anchored VWAP. Found support there, and now we're bouncing back off that this morning. So the upside pattern is still not invalidated on SPY, so heads up on that. And we are currently uh, trading off that trend line too, so be mindful of that. So basically the same pattern with the Qs. Found rejected at the opening print, anchored VWAP from Sunday night, and found support at last week's anchored VWAP wall, and now we're finding some trying to build back higher again this morning here on the Qs. We did have a target area down here, which we have not completely gotten to the bottom of it yet. Uh, uh, Here on the Qs, uh, we could come all the way down to the 477 potentially. Uh, so be very mindful that that pattern hasn't met, quite possibly may have not completed to the downside. So be mindful of that. Um, we do have a put wall at 480 as well. We tagged the put wall and a very quick bounce. I do want to point out we have not even filled the OPEX gap, same way with SPY. So there's always that possibility that that's going to be happening here. So we did look above. This is the second time we've looked above the monthly call wall at the 485 mark. A lot of times that could be on a lower high scenario as well. That could be an exhaustion situation. So be very mindful of that in today's session. We could be on the way on the road back down here. The bottom of the target is actually targeting the expected move for the Qs to the downside. So be very mindful. Our target range is lining up with our market maker expected move to the downside. So that's a couple warnings that we might be coming down more this week. So be very mindful of that in today's trading. Okay. IWN is doing a lot worse here. Let me zoom back in here in a smaller time frame. So basically, we have lost. Um, we were doing really bullish. Friday, we came up into the monthly OPEX. We tagged it, the call wall, the 220 call wall, and it was looking like it might be breaking out. But this is also our target zone to the upside for the IWM. Uh, it looks like that we're trying to build a base here to potentially this target zone and this call wall for our monthly OPEX, that they're trying to build a base, potentially trying to build a base for IWM. So be very mindful of that. It's looking more and more like a bullish pattern, in my opinion, despite the fact it's been acting weak going into end of quarter. So to be very mindful of that, in my opinion, this looks like they're building for something here in the Russell. Diamonds came down to our expected target Friday or yesterday. Came down to our expected target area yesterday. We're already back into this week's anchored VWAP. Okay, so we've had a little bit of downside action the past few days here, so we're already back into this week's anchored VWAP. Any prices above market highs should be looked to the long side initially this morning. So be mindful of that. So it's not looking. We're not breaking support. We're actually holding support this morning. I'm not that bearish because SMH is just a beast. We're above last week's anchor VWAP. We're above this week's anchor VWAP. Acting very bullish here. If you go here on the thing, we're neutral on the week. Despite the sell down yesterday, we're just pretty much neutral. They didn't give us much of anything to the downside here on the SMH into a range high, trying to decide which direction they want to go here. So, and we have already, last week, we already came down to our expected target, and we've been bouncing off of that. Okay, so be very mindful of that. This is not giving me a signal that the markets are overly bearish. Even in that correction yesterday, semis were not really participating to the downside in yesterday's correction. Apple got spanked yesterday. We're already down to the expected move for the week here on Apple. Potentially buy the dip. You have to be mindful of that potential buy the dip scenario. Right into the anchored VWAP or the market maker move low right here, right now here on Apple. You know, it really came down. Now this is a bearish pattern since we lost the midline. So this was our targeted area. They came in. They broke right through that. So this suggests that our this pattern is a broken pattern. So we would really like to see this to hold that support. That's why I don't. This is actually a falling knife. If you try to buy down here, it's technically a falling knife pattern. So be very mindful of that. Losing that support here at the 223.50, that is a very big deal. So be very mindful of anybody trying to buy the dip on Apple. And it looks like the print this morning is 223.50. Okay, guys, so they're already this morning trying to defend that support area here for Apple. So be mindful of that, what they're doing this morning. Microsoft continues as was week before OPEX, the monthly OPEX, and we're right into a very critical monthly put wall. Losing this here could put us in a negative gamma situation on the monthly OPEX. So be mindful. You would think this area would be tried. They would try to support this. This technically does complete this wake-off pattern. Okay, so be very mindful of that. This morning we're looking at it's not doing anything this morning, so be mindful of that. So this could technically be completing the wake-off pattern, but like I said, we could be going into a very ugly negative gamma situation as well. And when you get in a negative gamma situation, that could that starts blowing through the expected market maker moves. So be mind. This is one of the worst charts out there. So we have to be mindful of that scenario. Okay, and we have lost our expected target. So this is now new resistance. Same thing with Apple. Since we're coming up from the bottom on Apple, I know it's only one day, but technically that's new resistance for Apple. So, and we're going to be opening right into that potential resistance. AMD's really acted well yesterday in face of a very negative tape, and it looks like it's trying to open even higher this morning. So it would be opening above last week's anchored VWAP high. So that is a bullish pattern, and it has not completed this gap fill. So I would only be looking to the upside on AMD this morning. So be very mindful of that. NVIDIA bottomed the same time SMH did yesterday. Very strong pattern off of that support. It has already come all the way up into our monthly call wall. Okay, came up into it, rejected yesterday. So OPEX call wall. And this morning, it's at $3 this morning. So it puts us right back up into that call wall. Also, the expected move. This is potentially giving us a positive gamma breakout on the monthly time frame. Potentially monthly gamma breakout on the monthly time frame. This, to me, is more telling of the overall market than, if I try to think about anything else. I try to look at price. What's happening with NVIDIA worries me more about being short the market than anything. Okay, so that's why so be very mindful of what I'm seeing here. This here, they are really trying to support this, trying to go back to all-time highs here with what's going on with NVIDIA. Okay, that's why I'm really scared about being short because of what's happening with NVIDIA. Okay, we're into a put wall here for Tesla. Here at the 240, it's a big one. Okay, and we're 243. We're bouncing off the 240 this morning, but we are below our 245. So this is a very risky area. So if I was gapping up above 245 this morning, then I'd be a little less hesitant. This here is basically a falling knife below 245, so be very mindful of that. Google got really spanked yesterday. We have a very bad, if you know the wake-off count, so we went from a 2 to a 3 down. So our counts just completely reversed. A 2 up to a 3 down. That's a really bearish pattern, suggesting this is going to be coming down into our target zone here around the 160 area. So be mindful of that. This is not giving us a very bullish pattern. So be very mindful of what's going on with Google. It is gapping up a little bit this morning. Excuse me. So a lot of these patterns, whenever I see a big pattern like this, I actually look for a continuation below the close or awful close to it. It's not too far away from that close. Yeah, $1 away. That is quite a bit. But the closer it is to the closing print, the more likely it's going to continue to the downside. So be very mindful of that. Meta, we came right up into a massive call wall. 130,000 contracts on the monthlies were sitting here. So there is a very strong situation. Very strong situation. They're going to do everything in their power to hold under 600. So, that might be the blow off top phase right here. If that is the blow off top phase for Meta, we would be looking for, we have a monthly put wall here at the 570 area, but our first target would be here in the 560s. So be mindful of that. We could be coming back down. There is a substantial put wall here at the 570s, though. Okay. Amazon at a major support area here for Amazon. Major. This is the area that I would looking similar to last week. We were looking at Nvidia down here to be buying the dip. Similar situation right here. Right now, we'd be looking to buy the dip here on Amazon, knowing that the recent lows here would be our stop area. Okay. Another one I was really looking at here is Palantir as a possible blow off top. We came up above the monthly OPEX 39. There's a big call wall right here. And so we looked up above. We really didn't get any motivation to a massive gamma squeeze above that $39 area. So they might be, we're back tested. We back tested it yesterday, that 39. And now this morning we are trying to push back above that 39 again. So maybe that was only an opportunity for the option writers to get out of some of their trades. I don't know. I mean, but this to me is looking more, uh, going above and coming back down. That actually typically has been becoming new support. So be very mindful. I hate to short a pattern like this. Basically, as bearish as yesterday was, we should have blew right back down through to 39, but they're trying to hold that 39. So to me, that looks like a buy the dip, and it might start accelerating the positive gamma squeeze to the upside here on Palantir. So I really wanted to show that what's happening here with Palantir. Okay, guys. And we have final one is Netflix. $700 is a major put wall. On the bearish side, they continue to support this. We are below the target area. But this morning, we're right back, below 705. You're technically in the bearish side of trend. So, you really want to wait until you get it back above that 705 area to try to reignite to the upside. So, okay. And what really bothers me here, guys, uh, the ZNs, that's your bonds. We got a lot of auctions happening this week. And so we're on the bearish side of trend on the ZNs. Suggestion yields might have a sustained bid. So this really bothers me for any bullish side action. in the markets and seeing what's going on with the ZNs. They really got to defend the ZNs here early on this morning. And one final thing here, early on this morning, we're already trying to break the current week anchored VWAP here for the VX futures. We do not want that to become new support. We want that to break support here early on this morning for the bulls in the market. So be very mindful. Believe it or not, 2160 breaking that at all, and we should go long the market. So just be very mindful of what's happening here. Really critical support here for VX futures to kick off the session.